Welcome one all, my name is Tawess and today we are slinging some paint again. I have been sick, I've been out of commission, out of action, down and out. But I'm back up again. Never gonna keep him down, you know. And I decided to tackle a Ebon Jaguar in Clan Smoke Jaguar colors, because what else? And we did the Iron Guard before, now we're doing the Alphas. And their paint scheme is pretty much a grey, black, with some white accents and spots. So I decided to whip out the good old-fashioned airbrush, just get a nice, smooth gradient on it. You could do this with the paintbrush too, I usually do that paintbrush, but today I was like, why make it more difficult than you need to? So it's out of black, a dark grey, and then hit that with a light grey. Whatever you want, in that case, warm, cold, doesn't matter. That is what it is. Now I hit it a bit too heavy with the light one. It gets a bit too bright. But that you can bring back down with inks later on, so that's no problem. But keep in mind, sometimes you'll get a bit too harsh of a contrast between things. With that done, we just pick up some nice white paint, apply some nice white accents, because, well, you need them. You don't really need them, but they looked nice. So we applied some nice white accents, and then trying to figure out where to go next. As I said, this is one of these paint schemes that are on. You can get done in like 5 seconds if you have an airbrush, if you just want the base one. 3 coats of paint, and then some white accents, and you're done. Great for painting a big pile of them. But of course it also notes that blood named warriors can apply a mottled pattern on their mech if they want to. And then it gets a bit more involved. Of course, the ideal way to do this would have been with a round tip tool and just dot that on, but it takes forever. And I was being lazy. I admit that, I was a bit lazy. So I painted on with a brush instead. That gives you a different shape. You don't get these nice round shapes. You get a bit more oblong shapes because it's difficult to press the brush perfectly in every time. But for all intents and purposes, it is the most efficient way of doing it. You can use a ball stylus or other round tool, dipped in paint, dot on, dot on, dot on, dot on, and you get a very consistent pattern. Let it all dry and repeat with white later on. And that is pretty much all there is to it. That is their pattern. As I say, a lot of clans and companies in Battletech have a really either or opinion about paint schemes. I mean, most of them do use standard camouflage when not on parade, but not everyone does. Some does these very flamboyant things. And then you have these like middle ground ones, it's like two-tone paint jobs with some accents. And not to sound like a snob or anything, but that's not particularly fun to paint. I mean, you can elevate that too, but the amount of work you put in to elevate it does not really come through in the end result. It's a bit like putting down like 12 to 15 hours into a space marine. And it's going to show, of course. But the ratio of time put in does not really match the output. Same things as these. There are some really amazing paint jobs that you can put many an hour into, and it will really show. I'm gonna try and paint a I think it's a Kit Fox up next in the M90 camouflage pattern. It's a very intricate Swedish woodland camo. Also, hello to my paint of drawers of paint. Keep all my paints in these little IKEA thing right next to me. Had to do it, way too many paints, couldn't keep them anywhere else. But yeah, that really pays off if you spend a lot of time on it, because well, it is a lot of intricate designs. And we're going to try that out. But for this one, I didn't feel it. Sad to say. So I went with a slightly easier way of doing it. Just putting the paints on quickly, getting a good solid feel for it. And with the mottling done, went on to painting the weapons. And well, the cockpit in this case also, because we're going to apply something else into that one. And at this point I was pretty much done. We had done the mottling, we'd done the weapons, we'd done the cockpit. I was like, it still feels a bit flat. So out comes another old friend of mine. Almost ran out of this one, very sad. But it's Gloss Nuln Oil. And well, this was at one point a really nice bottle of it, but now it's getting so low that it's starting to gunk up a bit. So I pour this liquid gold onto a big dish and completely ruin it. And yes, I can hear some people cry right now, but I don't really care. This is my paint, not yours. 2 drops of water to dilute it, because otherwise it will just be black. I just want it to be a tone. And then just dunk the model into it. Or in this case, you play with a brush, but still, if I could dunk the model into it, I would have dunked the model into it. Because we're going to cover the entire model with it. I used to do this for my clan mix, because it gives a gloss finish to it. Without having to add any varnish. Which I have not had much luck with. I think it is that the varnish I'm using is from Army Painter and it's probably a bit old. Because it's not behaving the way it should. But yeah, just give the entire model a once over with the non-oil gloss. And well, whatever gloss varnish you can have, or ink, or whatever. Just make sure it goes into recesses and brings out the depth of it. Because otherwise, there's no point to it. So yeah, that is basically the idea. I was a bit afraid because this is a very delicate tone from the bright grey to the black. And I was afraid we were going to lose a lot of that. But it dried up nicely. It looked a bit dark first, but once it dried up nicely. So that's nice. But yeah, there's not much more to say about this. It's a really nice make. And I'm going to have my little end of line ramble as usual. Noting that I have 2 Innisphere lances coming in the made, probably during next week. It is 2 of the lance boxes that I've been missing, which is the Urban and the Striker lance, I think the light make lance with the General in it. Those 2 are coming. So I finally going to get my hands on a Hunchback, because my it's local as in local to my country, not local to my city. But my local of sorts retailer / supplier have a new big pile of Battletech makes. Also, they're taking pre-orders on the Alpha Strike box, which is nice. So yeah, we're gonna dig into that next week. It's gonna be really nice. But yeah, some diluted contrast paint added to the cockpit, and the mech is mostly done. Could have done more? Yes. But I've been really sick. So, we're still getting back up to speed. We are soon back to speed, I promise. Next week we'll be probably back to full speed again, but you know how things are. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It is what it is, I say. We also cracked 250 subscribers, which is nice. You're a crazy bunch. I have no idea why you do it, but I love you. Either way, I love you. Like properly. Take that with you. And as you watch this thing, until next time, stay safe, be kind, and do play fair. Bye.